You are now live streaming on YouTube. Okay. And off rip, I apologize if I'm smacking. My sinuses be stopped up and everything else is shot to crap sometimes. Let's click that. Why does this refuse to close? My computer tells me what it's going to do. I don't get to tell it. All of the money spent in laptops, brand new, and they still crap. You don't keep spending your money on them, they don't like you. From my end, hello. What up, though? Hello, what up, though? Halo, how are you? Jordan, Terenzo, and Emily, how y'all doing? Am I back? Is it working? Can y'all hear me? Halo, Jordan, Terenzo, Emily. Welcome. Again, I can't see, well, once again, I can't see myself in real time. Okay, very good. Thank you. I can't see myself in real time because my laptop won't let me have like the screen side by side. They won't let me minimize them. So it has to be full screen for whatever reason. And so I have to use the window in which I'm delayed a few seconds. So it throws me off. At times I might not even be looking at the screen because when I see myself delayed or in the past, it really throws me off. But thank y'all for dropping by and supporting me. I actually hit the like button. Of course, my name is Nancy, and this is Can Angels Fly Tarot Live. I'm kind of here with a follow-up live stream. I missed you yesterday, Jordan. And Terenzo, it's been a while since you dropped by, but thank you for coming. You haven't forgotten about me. But yesterday, I talked about the government shutdown. Well, it was the government shutdown, the astrological energies for late July, the dark side of the moon, the movie Bird Box, and the building of the bridge, and how I see all of that going together. Yeah, computers are crap. It has nothing to do with it. Money, technology takes knowledge. Gee, be careful not to. Oh, yeah, definitely not that. But yeah, I'm really disappointed I love technology, but I'm disappointed because laptops aren't cheap. And in the last 5 years, I've bought 3 and I take care of them. And because, this technology has a real live appeal, I'll say, Terenzo, that I love it. But even though I take care of them, they end up failing me one way or another. And I've realized this correlation between me, resubscribing to the various applications that are offered. The failure to do so seems to be the point in which the laptops start messing up. Like, for instance, I had, the Word application, all of the spyware and the protection and the different applications like that. They cost about $80 a year. And as long as I had those, I didn't have any problems. But as soon as those things expired, it's like they give you 2 or 3 months to see if you're going to come back. Especially if you get to 2-year one, we're going to give them some time. But each brand new laptop that I took care of, when I don't resubscribe or renew those things, then the laptop starts to mess up. Every time. I'm like, okay, insane. You said last night I was working on a video, but I'm always here for you. Thank you. It's good. I saw the video. I haven't watched it yet because I've still been in this researching mode. Love the cover image. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm fabulous in that. That goes to a video I did a couple of years ago when I talked about I'm ghetto fabulous and talked about what it means to be ghetto fabulous. And I was talking about that subject matter as a person that is reared by Saturn. I'm an Aquarius, so my ruler is Saturn as well as Uranus. So I was talking about that and the limitations that that planetary energy imposes upon me. And so I just been kind of chitter chattering in order to wait to see if I could get some viewers in, and I have a little audience. Thank you all for coming. And I started to make a statement, but I'm not sure that I completed the statement. This live stream is a follow up to the live stream I did yesterday, talking about the energies of late January and how they seem to me to correspond to the movie Bird Box and China moving to, put something on the dark side of the moon so they can see what's going on, as well as the government shutdown and the building of the bridge. I'm trying not to snap, I'm talking, I hate that. I had trained myself at one time, but it's back, so I'm trying to get it under control. You said revisit Savon Beaumar's video on, y'all know I don't know how to pronounce some of these words, etymology. I'm going to have to, etymology. Look that up and hear the pronunciation. It will explain how and why everyone must learn to decode every letter and number in a very way. Without it, we'll all, spell casting thoughts, causing the chaos. And that's a lot of what's taking place for us. Thank you, Terenzo. And so today, as I mentioned, is a follow-up. And why am I coming back on this subject matter of the government shutdown? Well, since yesterday, I got off the astrological energy in the story that it foretold in order to, I don't know what led me to, I don't know, something led, I don't know, my mind sometimes work quick as far as jumping from subject to subject, because when you're a researcher, you'll see that you're going down one path and you'll find some information out on that path and it'll have you detour and go look somewhere else. So it was something like that. And anyway, it led me back to this government shutdown thing here. Now, I only got a few little scribbled notes because I just kind of was thinking about this stuff today. And in the last hour, I said, I'm going to go live and talk about it a little bit. And one thing that I want to talk about is how, in the live stream yesterday, I was saying, to me personally, it seems like our president is holding the United States hostage. He wants his, what do you call it, wall, and has shut the government down. And I guess the expiration period for funding of, the various government departments is at the end of this month. And so it's necessary for our president to sign in order to renew any funds to any government agency or department, naming like the Department of Human Services or the welfare program. It is the SNAP program. I don't know what it stands for, but it's the SNAP program, which is a food program, a food stamp program, WIC, and that's for supplements and formula for like very young children and infants and their pregnant moms. There are, let me read this. Oh, it's over here. I guess I've already started reading what's here. In that, now I was looking online for some information because, of course, I don't know these things in detail, the details surrounding them. And so I'm talking about what the government shutdown has affected thus far, that is constantly talked about. And those programs right now are not shut down, but it's threatened. It's a threat that they may shut down if our commander in chief doesn't sign off and allow the funds to be renewed for those various organizations. But right now, with this government shutdown, I guess it's a partial government shutdown. I found online, who said this? I forgot to write down who said what. Well, on something online, it says that, or reports that 420,000 federal workers are suspended. I guess some of them are working without pay, others not working high pay. And so, so I guess it's also not only the workers, is contract workers, meaning people that the government hires to handle, I'll say, their light work. Well, they're suspended as well. And I'm assuming that most people have a house, so with either a mortgage or rent. They have a car, possibly with notes, or need some type of mechanical care. They need gas and fuel. Right now, in my particular hemisphere, it's cold. It's winter, and so they need fuel, and just the very basics of life, food, things like that. They may have life insurances, health insurance, life insurance. All of these things are being threatened. In short, their lifestyles are being threatened. Their sense of physical security in this physical world is being threatened by this, what I look at as a kind of a hostage situation. I shared in the last live stream that, I don't know much about politics or immigration issues or concerns. I'm an idealist, so I feel like the world should be like free reign, but I understand that there has to be organization. So, I digress from going too deep into such issues. And I say that because if a wall is needed based on the facts and the reality, then he should be granted the right. It's not him. But if the United States needs a wall in order to control immigration and to be able to process people, effectively into the country, then the building of the wall should be permitted. And I bring that up because, again, to me, it feels like the United States is being held hostage. If the United States does not permit the building and see to the completion of this wall, then the government shutdown may not end. And if those old contracts lapse or expire, and the funding is not administered or distributed to the various governmental departments and agencies and programs, again, that's negatively affecting or having a negative impact upon many people's lives. Oh, I ain't even thought about taxes, Jordan. That probably, yeah, because that's the United States Treasurer. Wow, you say SNAP. Paying. It was something I was supposed to, I'm about to ramble, y'all. It was something about paying I was supposed to. Oh, that's in relationship to R. Kelly. Because I think I might close this live stream down and come up with another one talking about surviving R. Kelly. But I'm not through thinking on that or pondering it yet. So what's it mean for them being shut down? Literally. Yes.
Can I say hi to La?
Yes, come on. Where you get now you got a Louis Vuitton hat on. This is what I'm talking about, being yellow fabulous, y'all. Oh, woohoo.
Yeah.
Oh, see,
Just myself.
how poor folk got Louis Vuitton on? No
I'm
name.
a vampire.
What they call
Well,
it?
are
Fake?
you lagging?
No. I can't pull up both screens at the same time. Say hi and go bye-bye. You in real time.
Hey.
Get out. Take your dog with you.
I haven't seen you all day.
I love you too. That's Pearl, y'all. They know it. Oh, that's Halo. She said, "Hey."
I got fans on your page.
Yes.
I'm better than you. That's why.
Mama, guess what?
Oh Lord. What?
Don't try to come take my little thing.
About to have training in a couple of days.
For what?
A new job.
Where at?
It's a full-time job in the food court.
Oh, that's cute. Well, come on. Okay, you move out.
You can do the application that
looking kind of rough.
Oh, now you gotta go
You
introduce
cute.
yourself.
And this is my other love. This is Destiny. Yeah, we're just not watch. We just not in. Ooh, look at my fat swinging right here. I'm coming back, y'all.
Okay, can you?
There you go.
There you go.
How about the whole family get in?
This is mine. Now, okay, move, Destiny. Move.
Y'all move.
Where Charity at?
Okay.
Oh, Charity. And this is Ruby. Y'all know Ruby. Y'all seen Ruby. Okay, that's Destiny best friend. Bye, Ruby. They so cute. Yes, they are.
No, Destiny is my best friend.
I mean, Destiny, y'all each best friend. And these two are twins. Lean in, Pearl, so they can see. They will see we lagging. I was going to say, you a vampire. I couldn't see you.
I'm the cute one.
We can't. Where you at? Is you there yet?
I'm not there yet.
There you go. We lagging, y'all. They say, hey. Okay, get out. Close my door. Y'all cute. Y'all both cute. Get out.
Don't lie to her.
Get out.
You only have one cute child.
Don't make me go off. And I got one more that might come up a little later. Let the screen clear so I can reset because y'all remember I'm lagging. So, excuse me. And so I was reading, you say love it, all of the estrogen everywhere, all the time. You know, I got 4 girls and oh my God, 4. 1 male and 4 girls. Government shutdowns means, Jordan, you were asking about the government shutdown. Thank you for Terenzo for responding. Terenzo says the government shutdown means to literally keep people in the dark while standing in the light in a very literal way. They are, because the reality is that our government never stops working. So there are things absolutely being done in the dark. Our government never stops working. But when they have a government shutdown, it means that the government is no longer doing business with the public, basically. You know, but they still doing their thing, still setting their plans, still having their conversations and things like that. Guess what I found out yesterday? What you found out? Since 1933, when we filed bankruptcy, we are in name only. Capital letters, name only. Federal Reserve took all the gold and silver. UN bankers own U.S. That's what I heard. And not UN bankers, United Nations bankers. I don't think I heard it like that, but something like that. All offices, departments, all in name only, right? And it's not, see down the conversations going somewhere else, is that when they talk about name only, I'm just sharing what I know about it. Terry, thank you for making a comment. Name only, like for instance, remember I just did a live stream about 3 or 4 days ago, and it was about who runs this place, because we seem to be confused about who really has the power here. Is it our divine creator, whoever that may be, that created this realm, or is it man and his laws and regulations? In that live stream, I talked about how man has hijacked divine law, tweaked it, distorted it, and then gave it out to the rest of humanity. And so we are under this preliminary brainwashing, and we believe that we got to go through man. But reality, we're supposed to be doing dealings with divinity. And I present the evidence that there is a divine being or divinity because we live in a self-contained ecosystem and it continues to function. 13 families, which are aliens. That's what it seemed like. I look at that stuff too. I smacked again. I try to stay away from the, what do you call that stuff? Conspiracy stuff, even though I look at it, and I try to deal with what I know from my life, so I know whatever I share here is absolutely true. But yeah, I'll be looking at that stuff too now. And so I was talking about the name, in name. So I bring up divinity, our divine creator, whoever that may be, versus man as ruler. Man as ruler know that there is a divine entity, whatever it may be, and we're actually supposed to be doing dealings with it, but we don't know it because what? Man hijack divinity's natural laws and tweak them. So man knows in doing business, they can't do business with our soul. They can't do no business with it because they have no interest in it. The soul belongs to divinity. But remember, the physical body belongs to this physical realm and world and is susceptible to its rulership. So the capital letters, they call it like the straw man. If I'm understanding what you were sharing here, they call it the straw man. And the straw man is the capital letters, your name or my name in capital letters when we do business. And that's what files bankruptcy. But the reality is they can't do business with our soul, as far as we don't have no name. But just for this live stream, I'm Nancy and you in spirit. And they can't do business with that. They have no interest in it. They have no legal, spiritual interest in it. You said, or Enoch, let me catch up. I smacked again. It seems that all the countries made deals with aliens in exchange for technology. That's what it appears to be. Meaning our mail with the names in all caps is not us. It's not us. All caps is the head of the Capricorn, which Capricorn is considered the devil. And that goes back to that R. Kelly video I want to make, Surviving R. Kelly, Gemini's lover. Jordan. The rules of the system are man-made and arbitrary. The real laws come from Gaia and the universe. That's what I believe. Jordan, read the Lost Book of Inky, explains everything. Yeah, I've read some of it, but not all. I haven't completed that. They've used that devil BS, the boogeyman. They have used that definitely to help control the mind of men and women. And so let me go back and talk more about, where was I? I was just enjoying the conversation. I get lost. As you may have noticed, the title of this live stream is The Government Shutdown. And I asked the question, who cares about your troubles? Well, the wealthy and those aliens, I don't think they care about your troubles, but I do. So I'm here to share some information with you. And I'll clarify as I move forward. This is going to be a fairly short live stream because I don't even know what I was talking about. I only have a few notes. I was sharing that currently with the government being shut down, I do believe it's been shut down 3 weeks, that it is currently affecting about 420,000 federal workers. It is and contractors. But if the contract is not renewed by February, then it will the federal shutdown will affect additional departments because funds will not be released to them, and it will affect such departments relative to human interest and the sustaining of human life. Are like the WIC program. I talked about that for children. The SNAP program is like some type of food program. And then it's the food stamp program. I think they're two different programs. I'm not sure. It will affect like HUD, helps with rental assistance, possibly. And I was reading, it talks about delaying payments to like landlords and different things like that. emergency help, burial, because the burial comes through the whatever state you stay in, assistance, child care, these different state agencies that wait for the federal government to say it's okay and give them their funds. And there are many other organizations I know that will be affected, that will affect the quality of people's lives. And this was foretold in astrology, I must say, and it has kept coming up in the tarot over the last year or two, I must say. And I bring that up because I want to show you how astrology does work. Over the course of the last year, I know the astrological energies were really pounding in on the second house of Taurus. And you hear me describe the second house of Taurus as a person's personal, worldly wants, needs, and desires. It's those things that we feel like we need in life to feel, physically secure and happy and, life worth living. It has to do with cars and the comforts of life, shoes, clothes, the things that we love, What is it that you love? What is it that you want? You know what you want. Taurus is a fixed sign. You know what you want. We've talked about this astrological energy relative to Uranus and how Uranus represents subtlety and enlightenment, and how Uranus backed up into Aries. And Aries, when Uranus backed up in Aries, I was saying at that time, it says, hey, humanity, look at what you've set up. Are you really ready to live those setups out? Because you're going to have to, if you make this bed, you're going to have to lie in it. And so I think currently Uranus is moving forward again, which means it moves back into Taurus. And so the things that we've set up, the things that we plan, the changes or the implementation of certain technological advances into society, in short, the new paradigm will begin to solidify and be made real in our physical world. We'll begin to see it everywhere. Hi, Bree L. How are you today? And I am. How you doing? We are there fed, and reincarnation is real. I believe the saying, Jordan, mind control. There are two types of mind control. One controls oneself or be controlled by another. And that's what the astrological energies are talking about currently. And that goes in that last live stream I made yesterday. Exactly, Terenzo. So going on, still talking about the current situation, the government shutdown. Now, I was looking online, and NBS News states that if the government continues to shut down and the shutdown spreads, it affects other departments and agencies. There are, as far as the WIC program or the food program, feeds 68%. It says 68%. It feeds 68% of the people that receive food assistance are family with children. Then they report that another 44% of the people that receive food assistance are working families. So we're talking about the working poor class, that even though they busting 40 hours a week, they still don't have enough to keep food on the table for themselves and their family. Overall, is 7 million people that receive WIC. Remember, WIC is a supplement program to make sure that pregnant women eat healthy and that their children, once born, have milk and things like that. Overall, these people being served suggests that there would be, upon the expiration of government funding for these agencies, 42 million, you heard me, 42 million people that will not have a bare necessity necessary to sustain their life, and that is food. That is food. It also states that there would be like a rush for 42 million people, minus children, that would be seeking some form of employment or job placement. 42 million people in a small time period. I ask you, how many jobs are available? How many people out of these 42 million people will be able to get jobs? I want to go back and talk about how food is is mandatory for a person to live. Mandatory to sustain life. And so again, I'm on Google doing the Google thing, and I come across a report by Business Insiders. And they state that a human can go for more than 3 weeks without food. They continue their report by saying Gandhi was successful at not consuming food for exactly 21 days, obviously, before he broke his fast. And so I found it interesting that they said a person go more than 3 weeks without food, because at 21, but Gandhi gave up. Gandhi gave up. And so why do I bring that up? Because if in 3 weeks your physical existence is threatened with death, that suggests that a person would have gone through a process. And I've talked about the process here before on YouTube, and I'll go into the process in a minute of starvation. Another thing I'm just throwing here while I'm looking at talking about this subject of substance in order to sustain, the physical body, is that the body is only able to sustain itself for 1 week without water. 1 week without water. That's a whole nother video, so I'm not going to go into it. But I'm talking about right now, I'm just focusing on people's sense of physical worldly security. And a part of what helps a person feel secure in this world is to know that they have something to eat, to do what? Sustain their life. Then you want a roof over your head and all the other additives. But food is mandatory to be here. If you don't get food in 3 or so weeks, you won't be here no more. But yet, it is possible that the government shutdown could continue and these vital programs can be disrupted. We already know it's a lot of, arguments and continuous debates about what kind of reforms should be made. It's a difference to make reforms than to just totally allow the programs to expire and no one gets anything. And so before I move forward, I want to talk about the process that takes place before death due to starvation. Now, don't just think, humanity can't possibly think at all that death just occurs. No, it's a process. Starvation is a process. Starvation is a process. Through my life experiences, I've come to understand that a part of that process has to do with pain. Of course, because your organs, your stomach are contracting, like contractions. It gets to the point where a person, the pain goes away after so long. Guess it's been contracted so much it goes away. There's also, it's maybe more, but this is what I know, personally. This point of paranoia, so it messes with the mind before starvation occurs. And the reason why I'm talking about that is just let it be on record that if you don't eat in 3 week period, it ain't just that you're not eating. You're literally going through a transformation process or the starvation process that it can lead to death. If it does not lead to death, it can lead to health problems because of deficiencies or what they call malnutrition, loss of teeth. Your skin is no longer healthy and susceptible to wounds or different things like that. The cells don't regenerate. I'm not a doctor, just trying to throw a little bit I know out here about what food does for us. And of course, we lack energy. And you know what? I don't mean to be rude when y'all talking. What I've decided to do is read a little bit, talk a little bit, and then save myself a little something for after the live stream and come back and read the chats. I find that fun. We say he only bet $60 a month. Oh, I only get $60 per month while paying full $750 in rent and being a single mom of 4 with 2 grown and gone. Right. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you for being honest, because there are so many people in our world. This is a part of the divide. Those that have or are more comfortable, and there are those that do not. The ones that have this sense, they have a sense of entitlement, and egotism, where they don't have, what is it called, empathy toward others, and don't realize that. I can go so deep. I don't want to get confused, because I can go off in so many paths on this. Is that there are people that get these funds, these supplements. It's not a lot. And many of the people that get the supplements, as reported by CBS News, are the poor working class receiving minimum wage. And I just say it. If they allow these programs to expire, there will be 42 million people that could potentially suffer from hunger and ultimately starvation. I would hope they would never let it go that far and even get to it. And so another thing, I guess, got to put a disclaimer out here. I'm not here to make anyone afraid. I don't want you to be afraid. The title says, "Who cares about your troubles?" I do. And so I just want to offer you some information that could be helpful if the government stays shut down. Will it work? I don't know, but I'm going to offer it anyway, because push come to shove, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to share it with you. Anyway, so I want to move forward with something else I was going to say. I'm jumping from place to place. What was the last thing? So I talked about the people. So I am shared. He said, I don't get nothing but $60 a month. $60 a month. And you got a family of 4, 2 out, 2 in. $60 a month. Paying rent, $750. Interesting. I know senior citizens, people that were in Vietnam, some near 80 and 90 years old. They get their little pensions from whatever they did in life. But they might get, how much did the government be giving these people? $12 or $16 a month. $16 a month for food. Like, wow. And so I was saying that a lot of these people that are more established in life, in society, they have this real negative connotation of the people that receive some form of public assistance, assuming that people are sitting on their butts, not doing anything, and just getting fat. No, getting fat. But if the truth be told, so it can be known, is that a lot of people are not receiving a large sum of benefits, especially when it comes to the food program. But there are others that are receiving larger amounts of food stamps. Again, it has to do with the criteria that the person fits in, So it varies. Maybe a woman with no income and a lot of kids, she might get a lot of money for a lot of bread. I don't know. But what I do want to talk about is a move that the government made about 3 years ago that disturbed me. And I don't think here on YouTube I had much social power, many people viewing me, but now I do. And so I want to talk about it. I want to say it might have been either 2015 or 16 that I stay in Michigan, so it's Michigan. I don't know how broad this went, but the state of Michigan released abnormally large amount of food benefits to some folk. So right now, I'm going to read the case that bought that distribution of abnormally large food benefits to certain people in society. So that's what I'm reading. The case was called or titled Berry versus Lion. And reading the details associated with that case. The Supplemental Nutritious Assistance Program, which is SNAP, overseen by the U.S.D, is administered by the states, and then they had a code. I ain't gonna read the code. An individual is eligible for SNAP benefits if he is fleeing to avoid prosecution. Well, basically it was like if a person is, I think I miswrote that. I'm gonna just finish reading. He is fleeing to avoid prosecution or custody or confinement after conviction, ... for a crime or attempt to commit a crime that is a felony under the law of the place from which the individual is fleeing. I don't even know if I wrote any more of it, but I just wanted to share that part of the case, Berry versus Lion. And I bring it up because what it was about is there were people that had legal issues. I'll say they got themselves in some trouble. And at some point in time, they went to the state of Michigan. I don't know if it was other states. And they had applied for some type of food benefits. And they were denied. And I think it was possibly an inmate. I did some research on it back then. Possibly an inmate or something. And so they took the state of Michigan or whoever to court. It don't say state of Michigan. They took somebody to court. And they won. We'll say the inmate or the criminal won. And I'm not trying to badmouth anybody, just trying to give you the case. And so they won. So anybody during a particular time frame, I'm going to say in a 3-year period, that had any legal troubles or didn't want to hand themselves in and they had a warrant or a felony or something like that, these people were automatically denied any assistance through some setup system that the state had, and it rejected them. If they was getting anything, cut them off. They denied them. Basically, it seems like the security of being able to get food. And so over time, it got taken to court, and this prisoner will say won. And it was like a Class A lawsuit. It was like one person won, but it was on behalf of everybody. So the law was changed or whatever, however it goes. And so they end up paying out many people a large sum of, I'll say, food stamps. I'm talking about starting off at $3,000 per person lump sum, only for food. Isn't that interesting? And I said, oh, it's something to it, the government up to something. Now, this is something that I don't think we've heard about in mainstream news. They haven't come back to throw it in our faces and say how we misuse benefits. But they will. I really believe they will. I think that's the plan. another reason I bring that large payment up of $3,000 lump sum just in food, not cash, food benefits. That was the only way a person, got their payment, and that was the minimum. Some people, I believe, keeping my ear to the street, they was getting $7,000. They got $7,000 and even up of food benefits at one time. So you didn't know that? Mm-hmm. And so, how can I say this? In the state of Michigan, a single adult, I think, is eligible for about $190 worth of food stamps if they don't have an income, or if they are working and they work like 3 months, they can get food stamps. And I bring that up because the minimum I heard in the street a person got was $3,000. And these was a lot of people. Could you imagine how many felons or people that's been convicted or people that had warrants and stuff for their arrested, they want to hand themselves in, or hey, just got out and trying to reestablish themselves? That was a whole lot of people that they paid out. Lots of money. Lots of food benefits, I'll say. These people, how do I say, each adult, had they applied and been approved at the time that they applied, would have most likely been granted $190 or so. So that $3,000 one individual got, it would have took them maybe like a year and a half to acquire that many benefits from the state, so it would have been over a period of time. And so I didn't understand how that lawsuit or in the state of Michigan paid out that, because we know the streets, y'all. I probably almost got real ghetto. But having $3,000 in food benefits, no cash, what you think they gonna do? And that's what they did. That's what folks did. That's what we do, I guess, in the hood. They did that. And so many of those benefits, whether it was $3,000 or $10,000, were gone in 2 or 3 months. Make that make sense. It's not a kitchen not a home kitchen, a private home kitchen, that's going to hold no $3,000 worth of groceries. No. And so we're talking about a bulk of people that possibly abused these resources or these benefits, not thinking that had they been approved at the time, it had took them a year and a half, maybe 2 years to get that kind of money in food supplement from the state. So I bring that up because, again, you were saying that you didn't hear about that. Many people, I'm sure, didn't hear about it. And you won't hear about it until the government come back and start talking about these same people like a dog, using them as example of people that abuse benefits. Now, I do believe even after they got those benefits, they were eligible for additional benefits every month after that for whatever, the policy said. So it continued to go on. Now, I'm from the D, I'm from the hood. Hey, you get in where you can get in and do what you got to do. But I bring that up because here we sit today with the government shutdown and a possibility of not having any funds for these agencies in the near future, when they just threw a whole bunch of funds out the window. See, you can tell this is an inside job, is what I'm trying to get you to. And at the same time, remember, I'm sorry, I put my finger on y'all like that, I just like y'all. If the government doesn't open back up, if the appropriate documents aren't signed and those funds are not distributed, then there will be 42 million people needing jobs or additional jobs or increased wages. in order to just satisfy a basic requirement of life, and that is to eat. And so I ain't even talked about all the other government agencies that would be affected and the people that will be affected as well. I ain't talked about that. And so it was something else I want to talk about. Recently, I've gone to my grocery store. It's got tight. So I go to the grocery store frequently, day by day sometime. And I've noticed some changes. My, I'll say, neighborhood grocery store has always been known to be a really nice grocery store, very clean, great meat, very organized. They're very friendly, but they've fallen off. So today I was like, I'm going to another market. And so I go to another market that I've known in the past to be equally as fair. And I went in there and I was in disbelief. 2 months ago or 3 months ago, I went to another supermarket and I couldn't believe it. It smelled atrocious. I was like, oh no, they must be going out of business. I bring that up because at the time that they released all of those food stamps to the people that had the legal issues, grocery stores was off the chain, food was moving fast. But now that they have been cutting or reforming this particular agency, I guess the Department of Human Services, Welfare, or Food Stamp Program, people getting $60 and $16, the movement of food has slowed down. Then we have the immigration issue, and Donald Trump or whomever have sent these people back across this border. And they were the people's, the way I heard it, I shared this in the last live stream, they were the people that did a lot of the harvesting and knew how to work the machines. So these farmers, I guess, kind of lost their employees. So now all the crops are being gathered. Therefore, the farmers are charging more for the crops, and the stores, of course, tax it. And then people like myself are left with these high food prices. Food is beginning to move slower and be higher. And so what I've known just noticed in my local grocery stores is that there's some things that are taking place that I've never seen before. And so I ask you to keep your eyes open. I'm going somewhere with this, y'all, because I love y'all. And I care about any troubles that you may have, even the thought of them. So I got something to give to you today. What I've noticed is outdated food. I was at the market the other day and I looked at something. It had expired in 2016. Some things had expired just the day before. And then there were things that were due to be expired in like the next week. Out of date food. So out of dated food or expired food has increased in my community. The next thing is old meat. And this just happened the other day. I just stood there and watched where an old cat that came in and bought some meat, and he bought it back and he was raging, pissed mad, because when he broke it open, it was dark brown on the inside. So the store was guilty of doing what? Taking old meat and wrapping it with good meat on the outside to make it look real good. Another thing I'm noticing is the prices, of course, with a story I just shared with you that was shared with me from the folks at the grocery store about the immigrants and the farmers not having enough workers, is now the price of fruits and vegetables are going up. And the last thing that I've noticed is that there are somewhat of food shortages, and I've had this conversation with a few people, that some of these stores don't seem like they're really stocking up, not like they used to. Why would they? When the people can't afford the food. And it's possible that if they were to stock up, that the people in their communities couldn't afford the food. Therefore, the store owners would take a loss, major loss. And what do you call that? They would lose their overhead, And so, I mean, even stores, when I was holding this conversation with another person, they were talking about how they had went to a place called Save a Lot. That's the lower price food, no name food, and you bag it yourself. And they said that the store was practically empty. This store I told you I went into 2 or 3 months ago, it just looked like they wasn't stocking up. And this store been long standing. Never noticed, never seen that before. Long standing. But they don't look like they're stacking up. What they're doing is trying to get rid of the old food or the food in the freezer, but they're not buying new food, you know. And so these are the things that are happening. And why do I bring it up is not to scare you, but it's to make you mindful and to be able to see. Referring back to the live stream I did yesterday and the astrological energies for late July, it was suggesting that many people can't see what's taking place. Why? Because our progression through life is so melancholy, not melancholy, but, I had the word. It's so slow. It's like watching paint dry. You always see me. It's like watching paint dry. You don't know when paint dry. You can't see it do its transition. And so life is transitioning, but it's transitioning slowly. The energy in which life transition, we can't see it. You know, we don't know when a baby's going to be born. We don't know when a person's going to die because it's an energy transitioning. We can't see that wave or that frequency. And so because we can't see the frequency of change, we don't see that there's something taking place. Regardless if the government comes back online or stays shut down, that change continues to take place. You say devolution versus evolution. Now I'm going to look up them terms because that might help me get the words that I need. Y'all know I need words. Prices are way up. And yes, money is created out of thin air. It is. And that's another thing we talked about yesterday in brief. I'm not going to read your whole comment because I got to say something for later. But we talked briefly about Bitcoin and things like that being the one world currency. Excuse me. And like you said, money is created out of thin air. And that's what I want to say is that long as we hold paper money, we think it's real. But soon as paper money is outdated and that kind of electronic money comes online, air money, then I think people will start to be able to understand or fathom that money is not real. Like people that do the markets, stock markets and stuff like that and deal in commodities and stuff, they know that they're not dealing with real money. It is the commodity that carries the value, whether it's, wheat or pork bellies or whatever the case is. That's what carries the value. And everything else is imaginary, or it's a way to keep things categorized, and distributed. The commodities, these are things that cryptocurrency. Thank you, cryptocurrency. Couldn't think of it. And so I'll go on because I just kind of been rambling. Okay, I read that about that lawsuit. I just wanted to share that with you ladies and gentlemen because I don't think a lot of people knew that. And so we can anticipate that one day, we going to sit up and watch the news or see something here on YouTube and they going to bring back up all that money they gave them people. Yes, they should have gave them money for food. That they should have. Yes. They could have even gave them some back money or what you call it, when you somebody said back, I'm saying back money, but $3,000 was insane. They could have gave them 2 or 3 months worth of back pay in case they had to replenish somebody else's food they done ate on for the time or whatever the case may be. But $3,000 was too much. So it's a setup and eventually they're going to come back and use that as an excuse. They're going to use the data from that. They're going to, my words, they're going to use the data from that time period in order to, what they call it, not characterize, talk about folks that receive these various benefits. That's what they're going to do. And say, look at what they did and how much they spent it on. And they bought shrimp and they bought lobster and they bought this and they bought steaks and they bought a bunch of junk. Well, damn, they had $3,000. They could buy what they want. You gave it to them. These are the same people that possibly have already been in the penitentiary and ain't had nothing good to eat in a mighty long time. So you kind of set them up. These are people that have been in the penitentiary and probably didn't have any money in their pocket. Guess what? You set them up. And he did it to create some data that they're going to put back out on us later on. But those that have won't understand. They're going to eat it up. Like, yeah, look at them eating the lobster. They're going to show the receipts and all the things that people bought. Look at this. Watch. But they do not understand all the details surrounding that story. Interesting. Okay, now I'm moving on because I wanted to bring you something. I just wanted to make sure that, before I go into my little final page, what do I have over here? Okay, that's my little final page. I wanted to talk about how I want to refer back to the movie The Bird Box and The Dark Side of the Moon. If you watched the live stream yesterday, I was talking about how the Bird Box and that all that propaganda about the dark side of the moon, China putting something on the other side of the moon to see the dark side of the moon is all propaganda. And what it is telling is also subliminal messages to society. And what is it saying? Soon. It's saying soon. You folk, humanity, people, society, you will be seeing the dark side of your moon. What does it mean to see the dark side of your moon? It means you're going to see some ancient beings, some ancient entities that represent your greatest fears, losses, and different things like that. You will be confronted with the scariest thing you ever saw, and it's possibly will make you want to do away with yourself because you just can't handle it. So at this time, like to talk about one of those ancient, malevolent entities, beings, or demons that they're talking about. I refer back to when I was talking about hunger. Now, at a point when a person is hungry, headed to starvation, there is a spirit that enters the body. And if you've never experienced it, you couldn't even fathom that something like that exists, something unseen exists, and that it can possess you. And its entry point into a person's physical vessel is through that void we call hunger or starvation, prolonged hunger into starvation. At that time, that ancient, malevolent entity or demon walks into the body, and it amplifies those cramps I talked about and the stress in the heart and things like that. And it takes your breath and it sets in your mind and leads to paranoia. I'm not going to go into detail about how I know this demon personally. I have shared it here on YouTube, and you can, what video did I share? I shared it in my video I made called Your Ass is Grass Due to the World's Greatest Pyramid Scheme. That one I shared there. And so that demon that I just shared, I'm not going to talk about other demons that I've gotten to know in my life, but that demon is an example of what those shadow beings or ancient malevolent spiritual energies in the movie Bird Box represent. That demon that I'm talking about is associated with hunger into starvation is the same entity that you will see on the dark side of your moon, your worst fears. So I'm just trying to make it make sense and share. So back to the name of this live stream It's called the government shutdown. Who cares about your troubles? Most likely, many of the officials or people that are fairly secure and stable in this physical world don't care about your troubles. And the reasons why they don't care about your troubles is because they don't understand. They don't understand. And maybe one day I'll come do a live stream and talk about when people just don't understand. They never experienced it. They never had certain entities enter their physical vessels. But then on the other hand, there are entities that have entered those people's vessels that they know very well. But the type of entities, malevolent entities that enter maybe a poor person's body is, but it's not just about poor. How can I say? Scrappy, don't start growling and barking. It's not just about being poor, because you can be at any worldly economic level. You can be any race. You can be any religion. And in the Bible, God say, "I'm no perspective, perspective of person." These entities are no perspective of person. If you align with them, if you open up the right portal for them, they come right on in. They come right on in. But again, that's a whole nother video. And so I want to stop and go over here and talk about, because I care about you. I care about if any troubles come your way. So I want to talk about some old school emergency tactics or supplies that one should keep on hand in the house, readily available to you, to make sure that you don't have to be hungry, that you never starve, nor anyone up under your care. Now, I've heard that a lot of these, we can say foods, some people will argue me down about this, and I can understand why, but they call them slave foods. But that's okay. Because these foods, these very bare basics, helped slaves to survive. They made it through horrific circumstances and situations. And they had children on it. They raised those children. And those children now are lawyers and doctors and things like that. So these slave foods or these old school supplies, they can help. They can help. And of course, this is worst case scenario, but these are things that I personally was raised to always have in my house. It's no excuse. When you go to the store, these are the things that you get, no matter what, and then you fill in around it. That's how I was raised. I was raised by an old school person. My mom was born in 1937, I think, 1937, if I recall. So she still has some old school ways, and she was from West Virginia. So old school ways. The first thing, something that I didn't write down that was a basic, old school basic, is for women that have infants. You know, this is extreme. I know it sounds extreme, but just always have these things. Things don't have to be crazy or extreme or, a complete flat depression. And it doesn't have to be like that. But I'm just saying, always have backup. Always have backup. If you don't need it, maybe somebody you know need it, and you got it to give to them. So here is the list. For pregnant women, you know how they talk about if the government program don't come back up and it stays shut down, that the WIC program ain't going to get us funded, so it can't feed the children, right? The babies and the pregnant moms. For them, old school is pet milk, PET, pet milk. And that is an evaporated milk. And you can use that for the infants. I think it's, for the infants, it was half and half, if I recall the instructions my mom and grandma gave me when I was younger. Half and half pet milk, half distilled water or boiled water. And you can also add, for taste, something called Karo syrup. That could be the formula for a baby if necessary. And of course, breastfeeding is always feasible. Now on to the pantry. The pantry. You should always have sugar, flour, cornmeal, lard, salt and pepper, rice. Um, if you're daring and you have the resources to build what they call it, a pen, you can buy some chickens. Y'all don't eat the chickens. Just get the eggs. So I think you have to buy a rooster and a couple of chickens in order to have them constantly produce eggs day after day. So don't eat the chickens. You buy them, you make them a nice, comfortable home, and you eat the eggs. The next thing is potatoes, yeast, milk. And I'm not talking about like the homogenized milk. I'm talking about dried milk, where you add a little what? Distilled or boiled water to it. The next thing is always keep your canned goods up. Now, if you got to get them canned goods from Save-A-Lot or Aldi's or Food Pantry, you get them. Stack them up. Always have you a reserve, a supply. This is the old school way. The next thing are dry goods, such as beans, like navy beans, pinto beans, split peas, kidney beans, lima beans, and there's so many other beans. You know, get you a little bit of everything. They run about, what, $2 a bag. This is just your surplus, just in case anything ever jump off. Or if you want to try, your hand at cooking from scratch, because we don't scratch. You say that's nasty. Oh, baby, you're going to have to come visit me in the D so I can hook you up from scratch. Cooking from scratch, something else that we don't know how to do. So when you get these items, you may want to practice, like, what can I do with this, and this, and really make something happen that actually is, can satisfy the palate and the spirit of hunger. Make sure that you never be hungry. And another thing that people don't keep anymore, and I understand as far as being health conscious, I understand that, but I'm talking about push come to shove. I'm talking about the spirit of hunger and starvation. It is a spirit associated with hunger and starvation. And I'm telling you, you don't want to meet it. You don't want to meet it. In order, if you ever need to hold that spirit off, these are things that you can keep that can help you, make it through. And the last thing that people don't get anymore, keep or purchase anymore, are the fats off of meat. And that's real. We end up going to get the what do you call it, the trimmed, get them trimmed and get the it's another word I'm looking for, but it's be trimmed. You get the corned beef trimmed, you get everything trimmed, trim the fat off, throw the fat away. But old school used that fat in order to create things like broths. Like you can keep your beef broth, your beef fat and chicken skins and fat and pork, ends and fats, and you don't have to consume the meat. Some do, but you can just boil them and put the salt and pepper in and just boil them until it creates a broth. And you take that broth and do what? Put it over the rice. You want to get good with it? Make you a pot of beans. If you want to get better with it, throw some of that meat you didn't boil over with the pot of beans. This is an old school menu to get you through, just in case anything ever happened. And again, I'm not trying to lead anybody to be unhealthy, but if we're ever in extenuating circumstances, this is your go-to shopping list. One more thing I want to share about the food. Now, this is something else that I've noticed. Guess what, people? We outnumber the people that think they're in control. I'm just saying. That's what Terenzo, we outnumber them. We outnumber them. But that's why I posed that question in the live stream a few days ago. Who's in control? Divinity or man? Now divine, our arms too short to box with God. But man, we can go to him. You know what I'm saying? Put him in his place. And so, made a pot today, broth that was raised up. See, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, you a real live cook. I know where I can go. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And you got to make it good for you. The last thing I like to talk about relative to this food supply that I've noticed, and it's been since My daughter graduated last year. Was that last year in June? Last year in June, she graduated from high school, I think. Either it was last year or the year before. And I was shopping at Costco's over the last few years. I like to buy in bulk. And so I also buy the food bins, like you get them from ACO or Home Depot, the bins to store food, the white bins. And so I would buy at Costco's the big bags of rice, the big bags of flour, the big bag of cornmeal, and put them in a bin and put the lid on and seal it. So when my daughter goes to graduate, whatever we're making, I think we're making shish kebabs and rice and things like that to serve to the guests, her going away to the prom thing, send off. And so she said she wanted shish kebabs, rice, and whatever vegetables. Okay, well, the one thing I don't have to buy is rice because they have this huge bag down in the bin. So the day of the prom, send off, we're getting ready. We go to pop the bin open. Bag has never been opened. I bought it from What You Calls immediately, cleaned out the bin, put the stuff down in there, sealed it, pop it open the bag. My daughter goes to pour the rice into the boiling water, and all of these little bugs came up. Now, the bag didn't have any holes in it, nothing. No gaps, no holes, no nothing. It wasn't wet, nothing. Had been dry, stored away in a cool, dry place. Nothing. All these little bugs. So I ended up having to throw that bag away. I'm thinking like, dang, what is that? I was so upset, sick, but I had to keep moving forward because we were expecting guests. So we made things happen. Anyway, fast forward some time later.
I heard everybody else on camera, so.
Okay, so that's Lily, y'all. So just, I don't like her.
You.
And so, fast forwarding sometimes later, it happened again with cornmeal. What else was it? It was the cornmeal. It happened with the rice. Did it happen twice with the rice? What am I saying? I don't know what it is because then I end up checking everything because that's not the only bin. That's not the only bin of like dry goods that I have. They're all sitting in the same environment. They're all sealed, but it just happened to be some of the things like the cornmeal and the rice that these bugs are existing in. And what I didn't research was to find, were they domestically grown foods, things like that. I don't know what I think Costco's only do domestic. I don't know. I would have to check that though. But so my concern was like some of these crops are contaminated. They haven't successfully removed the pest or the pestilence. It's in the food. And I thought it was just me. And it kept happening with these items. And then I wouldn't go to Costco's. I got upset. Oh, then one day I bought a bag of potatoes at Costco's. I used to love their potatoes. And I got this bag of potatoes. They were gorgeous. You know how Costco's is. And I cut it open. And inside it was rotten like core in the potatoes. And, they sell a bag of bacon potatoes. It was rotten in the core. And I went in the bag and I cut one after the other. And I'm like, what is this? And so things started popping up that weren't normal and was actually threatening my food supply. I was trying to be a prepper and it wasn't going too well. And so I got disenchanted with Costco's and I started shopping at my little local stores a little more, buying a more singled down bags of cornmeal and stuff. Guess what? Same thing. Has it been every single one? No. Has it happened multiple times? Matter of fact, several times? Yes. Then I tell y'all, I walk and cuss and fuss all the time. So I'm walking and cussing and fussing about stuff. I just think about something and just start cussing. And people like, this woman crazy. Yes, I am, because I'm mad, And somebody say, well, yeah, I heard about that. They said, a matter of fact, they've seen it on Facebook where people put it on Facebook and post. So why am I bringing that up again? Either it's intentional that these particular old school or slave foods have not been processed correctly because they know they're the go-to foods that help a particular culture survive. So they got to make sure that which sustained unwanted culture's life before don't help them again. That's what's possible. I'm reaching. Or it is because of, well, that's a whole nother video talking about the food and it being fake and all that kind of stuff and things not being sterile, that kind of thing. And so I'm going to leave it alone. I'm just letting you know that make sure that you check the dates on the things that you purchase. It seems to me that the food supply is moving again slower. And because it's moving slower, foods are going bad. And stores, like if you live in the inner city, are doing little tricks to make sure that they can sell their products because they don't want to lose their overhead. Another thing about that is, what I don't understand, like Lorenzo was saying, we outnumber these people. We have to think. If the worst case scenarios were to happen socially, we got to think. If we don't think, we going to tear each other apart. We going to kill each other. We going to make it real hard for each other. And ultimately, we going to eat each other. So we got to think. And I bring that up because I walk around my grocery store and I'm like, why are they allowing foods to go bad when all they have to do is put it on sale? Because if they allow it to go bad, either it's going to make somebody sick, get found out like the old man found out the other day when I was in the market, and somebody going to set it off in there, or it's going to make somebody sick, or they're ultimately just going to have to throw it in the garbage. So before they get to that level, lower the price. If every market in the country did it, if every farmer in the country did it and said, this is the plateau, we ain't going no higher, it's nothing that they could do because we outnumber them. But instead, we keep trying to meet these standards set by men, and the bar is too high and it's not fair. I'm sorry, I keep pointing at y'all. I hope I ain't been the whole video. I just can't stand it, but I had to get it out. So now I want to talk about something else that I've been thinking about. As many of you know, I got my set of bad habits. This is one of them. A lot of my money goes here. And when I was younger, I've kind of always been an oddball. So when I was younger, like in my 20s, I was like, I started smoking around 25 or something. This is 25, 24, 25. So I probably was in my early 30s, maybe even to my late 20s or my early 30s. I was like, I'm tired of going back to the store, sometimes not having the money. Like I said, I like to buy in bulk. I like to be ahead of the game. I'm ruled by Saturn, and that energy has been really, really tough on me. And so it's taught me to try to be responsible. Every time I try to turn up, that mother sucker jump up on me. So I was like, one day I passed this tobacco shop. And I went in and window shopping and tobacco shop. And what I realized is that you can make your own cigarettes. So this message is to cigarette smokers. No, I'm not trying to tell you to smoke and get unhealthy. But if that's what you choose to do, I just want to remind you that we have an option. We don't have to give our monies to these premium cigarette companies at 7, 8, 11 in some places dollars a pack. No, we don't have to do that. But we can go to the smoker shop and buy papers, roll it up, tubes, like a cigarette comes in this type filtered tubes, and we can buy smoking tobacco, various qualities, types, whatever you like, whatever your thing is. And we can buy the cigarette making machine and get more for our buck. Since we're going to do it, let's do it right. And why do I share that? Because why keep stressing ourselves out especially if we're going to be moving into a challenging time, especially if the scenario takes place where the government don't open back up. Now you doing without your smokes as an example. Guess what? And I made a video about it. If you don't have your smokes or your what do you call it, your vice, there is a spirit that steps in and taunts you. If you're a cigarette smoker, you know what I'm talking about. That spirit that steps in and gives you what? It's always accompanied by some abdominal cramps or headache, those kind of things. And it speaks to you and it just taunts you. And it's like everything that we do with our physical body. If we try to release it, there is an energy that comes. It's just a malevolent energy that comes, that steps in, that messes with the mind and things like that. The thing about it is we don't recognize like those experiences as entities bombarding us. But when you get to the big dog things or issues like starvation, you won't ever be able to deny that it's a benevolent being outside of yourself that's stepped in. So you can do that. Other things to help control your environment if things ever get tough, ever. You should always have these things on hand, as old school say. You always should have candles. Now I know y'all know that. Always have boxes of candles, matches. You can also have lanterns. See, all these things are old school, outdated. Most young folks don't know nothing about this. But you can have lanterns. You can find lanterns and lantern oil at like places like Walmart and Kmart and what's the other one? Different things like that. Target, lamps and lanterns and lantern oil and wicks. And then the last but not least, you can always have wood, especially if you have a natural fireplace. It can always secure that you have some source of heat and the ability to cook. Like camping. We don't go camping no more. Pray on it. You're going to pray on it. Let's see, but my nerves bad. It costs more to buy these electronic devices and gum to quit. Same as right. And I've stood there before, like I'm gonna get the gum, but if I spend this $70, $80 on gum, that's 6-7 packs, and what if it don't work? Then I'm stuck with this gum. I've been there. More expensive than goods that poison our body is becoming clear what's happening. It's becoming so clear. And I wonder if a person that is a smoker, diehard smoker, buys the loose tobacco, are there less chemicals on it than a pre-rolled cigarette? Because the people that roll the pre-rolled cigarettes will be highly interested in making sure that those cigarettes are preserved or fresh, because their name is at stake, those kind of things. I was just wondering. I said, Florida hurricane season. Yes, I know. I'm going to meditate with you as for you. Thank you. And back to you. I buy solar power lights. Yep, solar power lights. I have some of those. Solar power lights, battery lights, flashlights. I don't even like flashlights no more. I don't know. I think they ain't even kids no more, but they seen the light playing with the flashlights. And every time the power go out, I go, get the flashlight. And not nan one of them work. So I be mad. But I do have some solar powered lights and oil lanterns and candles and things. And what I realize, what bothers me is that, anything is possible at any time for any set of reasons. And I'm saying things can happen. Things can go down. Power can blow out. And so we need these things. The power can blow out and it's time before they can get the refrigeration up. The food go bad. So we need these go-to things just in case to carry us through, whatever the reason may be. And I can't stock up the way I want to. I really can't. And that irritates me. I like to have what I want. That's second house. The basics. I like what I like and I want what I want. I feel more secure when I got lanterns. I got them and I got oil. And why do I say it like that? Because what the hell a lantern gonna do for me if I ain't got the lantern or to pull into it or the wicks to refill it with? The power here where I am has gone out in the last year 4 or 5 times, maybe 2 or 3 of them last some 3 and 4 days. So I burn it out, but then I don't have the resources to, replenish it or restock. Why? Because I got to deal with all these other issues at hand. And it seems like it's a lot of things coming on back to back for me anyway. And I don't think it's just me, but all I know is my experiences. And so it's getting harder and harder for me to catch up, which is an issue. And it just irritates me. But that's the energy, astrological energy as well that we're going through. Excuse me, again, talking about the second house of Taurus. And then me being ruled by Saturn. Well, that's Saturn does. He leads you to not really ever feel stable or secure. You just keep trying to push and create this sense of stability, and it keeps eluding you. And so I'm kind of in the astrological vicious cycle. Y'all talking about and it's very near. Y'all be aware. Be very aware. Well, I'm in trouble because I could never roll a smoke. Let alone a cigarette. Well, you're not a smoker. That's a good thing. See, if you ain't got the vices, that's great. A person with less vices is better off at any given time in every way. But every vice you got, it just make you weaker and more vulnerable to not so much the outside world, but to yourself. To yourself. That's some deep stuff. That's what happens through the solar power on deck. And looking into the solar power for water because it's well and runs on power. So lights out, the water's out. Oh, wow. It's the worst days, these hurricanes. Love Florida. Wow. I never thought about that. That water thing. When I was a kid, I don't remember all of this stuff. And as I grew up and became a young adult, I don't remember all this stuff. When I say stuff, worries. Even when I was a younger adult, personally, with kids and stuff, I don't remember all of this stuff. I guess it was always possible, but it just wasn't in my consciousness. And so many times I think that the propaganda that is presented to us via news and entertainment and different things like that, and various policies and things are to help direct our minds. And from our minds, we began to create. Collectively, we create. Because it seems like my consciousness is different than it was when I was younger. Now, mind you, there were things that I was highly aware of, but I didn't have the fear or worry about tomorrow and if everything is going to be okay all of the time, And I think that over time, much of humanity has been manipulated into a particular mindset. And once your mind is set or in a certain manner, it projects it back out into the world. We use our power, our hands to create the reality. I think we're in many ways, we're assisting this corrupt system. Just like I was talking about the farmers, allowing the government to dictate how much they charge, and then just the market, the commodities. Again, because then it goes into these people, into the markets. How do I say, people that deal with the markets and the commodity, markets as far as commodities. What do they actually have to do with a real life farmer out there shoveling manure and the person that ends up selling the stuff? What they in the middle of it for? And so if we got this mindset that we don't need these middle people and these people telling us what we need to do, then we can set our own rules and make it happen. And we can create an ecosystem, a social ecosystem that can take care of us, humanity. But that's just me and my idealistic imagination. By interested intuitive pathways. She is original. Been listening too many troll on a loose. Troll on the loose. By who's by? You saying by to me? Interested intuitive pathways. She is hashtag original. Been listening too many. Troll on a loose. Am I supposed to go? I'll check her out. I guess it's with me. We fill the bathtub up with water, but Hurricane Irma hurt me bad. They didn't come out and did our area power until 2 weeks after. See, that's what I'm saying. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. It's in 3 weeks you could been a star, halfway then star to death. And in a week you can't go without water. 2 weeks. That is insane. That's scary. They fixed power in rich folks section first. Of course. Why do they do that? Why do they fix the power in rich folks section first? Is it because they're the more influential people in our communities? Because maybe they're the doctors or the lawyers or the people that know how to fix stuff like the electricity, so they make them more comfortable so they can go to work. I don't know. That's why the world is effed up. It's effed up. But that's why I think we have to learn to work together so that we can make it through. I can't see. Okay. Times like that. Times like that. Count my blessings. I remember just sobbing out of ideas. Just broke down. Where am I? Broke down what to do to get through that hurricane. Damage took our home last time. Wow, sorry to hear that. I was alone and lost all my food. Ooh, and see that's real to you, but I don't know that. I don't know what that is, and for a person to go through that, and especially if you've never been through it, you just would. Yeah, wow, and that is deep. That's scary. That's scary. And you're just one person out of many. You're speaking for many people that have gone through that and didn't know what to do. And how do we act? What do we do in those times? Like you said, you're just sobbing. Other people can be very pushy. And that's what the astrological energies for late July we're talking about. How some people can be very pushy and aggressive because they have to restore themselves. They got to tend to themselves. They got to persevere, And so we need a balance. We need a balance. And I think the only way humanity can have balance is to understand that we know how to work together. We don't have to move forward or strike in fear. Again, I have this utopian type of mind, this idealistic mind, and maybe it's just not possible. Type of error, just saying trolls on You're Alive. I get trolls. Really? Okay. Well, welcome trolls. Where they at? I don't know. I'm kind of nerdy. I don't pay nothing attention. It's like, yes, ma'am. We need a global awakening. We do, and it's happening. But again, it's slow, and it's different things that are waking different people up at different times. And so, so I kind of have to, and not to go crazy, have faith that whoever divinity is, just like it put together this insane system, this space, this realm, that it got it covered. It has it covered because I don't see how we can work together. It's just too much. It's too great. Unless we just become so conscious and say, okay, we're going to take it by section. We're going to take care of each other. We're going to plant gardens. We're going to do this. We're going to cut back on this. But that's the only way I can see it happening. But who am I? We do, Jordan. as one in togetherness. All will be. And so, I thank y'all for hanging out with me here at Can Angels Fly Tarot Live and talking about, ways to make it through difficult times or to prep just in case anything happens, or prep so you can learn how to cook from scratch, as they say. Before I leave, I want to share some final thought with you, and it has to do with just if, the government does not get restart, and resets the funding to these various government programs and agencies, and it moves into a third and fourth week, in which, again, those shutdowns would affect people's lives. And the worst case scenario begins to unfold in that second week, as far as people meeting with their, worst fears and suffering losses. And life goes where we would have never, ever expected it to go. We face the challenges we never, ever thought in a million years we face. They're like, what? My car getting repossessed? What? I got an eviction notice? What? They turning off the water? Oh Lord, my health insurance, my dental insurance ain't working. Am I tooth falling out? Or anything, anything that happens. Because these shutdowns are going to affect different parts of our reality. Oh, you go to the grocery store, the price of food further up, people acting nutty because they teeth falling out, hair falling out, water getting cut off. They, can't go gamble. Gamblers, can't go gamble. You pay your bills or you go gambling. And so just these little things that tighten up our reality and try to force us to do right, could lead to stress. A lot of stress on a lot of folks. And stress is one of those dark entities, and you look at that mother sucker and it starts, making your hair fall out, teeth falling out, get a twitch in your eye, chest pains, those kind of things. I just wonder, I ask myself this, if it was to go that far, in the future, check this out, because y'all know I have an interest in law. And I just remembered this kind of phrase from when I was dealing with my law issue. In the future, if that scenario was to go to an extreme and we start losing our hair, teeth, and having chest pains and things like that, toenails falling off or whatever the case may be, in the future, will there be legal complaints or arguments against any officials, government officials, that performed any act or partook in any action that resulted in what? Folks having eye twitching, losing their hair, having chest pains, toenails falling off, losing your house, a car, anything like that. That destabilized society. Any of them officials, will they meet with any complaints, legal complaints from society, people, however it goes. And that is to say, an individual, a person out of humanity, or a special interest group is seeking some type of compensation or recovery for suffering of what? Bodily or mental damages as a result of the destabilization of their reality or of society due to gross negligence or misconduct and or misuse of power. Because of the official, government official. Based on, now their complaint is based on this, not only that they suffered some form of suffering, bodily suffering or mental damage, they are actually talking about the individual, humanity, a person that goes through a difficult time, losing their hair and teeth, suffer injury In addition to suffering fright, fear, nervous shock, humiliation, mental or emotional distress. Now that didn't come out right. But why did I say that? I just want to read that legal part. Again, I remember when I read that and the complaint against me, I'm like, what? I told him when I was defending myself, you mean to tell me that this plaintiff suffered fright, fear, nervous shock, humiliation, mental and emotional distress. Oh, you should have seen me breaking it down. They just wanted me to shut up. And so I bring it up because remember, going back to the movie The Bird Box, going back to The Dark Side of the Moon, which suggests that people have the potential to come first face to face with their worst fears, those ancient dark entities. In the movie The Bird Box, when the people came in contact or saw those ancient malevolent energies, their own dark shadow, those people were what? Frightened, fearful, suffer from nervous shock, humiliation, mental and emotional distress, to the point that they did what? Yeah, they killed themselves. And so I asked this question, if we go through a difficult time, eventually, will there be some legal repercussions for those that led to the onset and perpetuation of the social nightmare of not having one's physical, worldly wants, needs, and desires met, that ultimately led or will lead or has led to some people having health issues and problems like that, mental breakdowns. Why? Because they met with their worst nightmare. They suffered fright and fear and nervous shock from those shutoffs and the lights being cut off and getting sick, teeth falling out, can't go to the hospital, price of food, people killing themselves, killing each other. Or humiliation, a person with a real high ego that's used to popping collars and, oh man, I want to tell y'all about these shoes, but I'm going to leave it alone. Popping their collars and they live the fabulous life, at least they present that they live a fabulous life. They keep the fronts up. But in a time in which one should be a good steward over their resources, they are confronted with either keeping them fronts up or being a good steward over their money. And they're forced to, by the need to preserve their physical body. They have to pay their bills. They got to be mature. And then all of a sudden, others see them for who they are. They don't have the bells and whistles on. They don't have the glitz and glamour. They don't have the king's crown. They don't have none of that. And what you end up seeing is a person without their fake teeth and no weave and no fingernail polish. And, they just looking, you like, is that the same person? Well, guess what? That person will suffer such humiliation. They will have met with their worst fears that a person see them without all the bells and whistles. So, in the case that things go to an extreme case, I just wonder, will people be legally held accountable for the destabilization of society and the stress and the results of the stress that parts of society may have suffered? I don't know if I made sense, but I just wanted to share that. So let me see what y'all got to say, and then I'm going to go off here and finish my contemplation on this Surviving R. Kelly series, so I can come and talk to y'all about that and break that down and tell you what I think about it, because I got a lot that I think about it. And you say, I love police body cams is finally coming to light. The power trip, a lot of them, the ones who are not that right and far between, comes to it that will do what they are told without question. Yeah, I believe in the body cams too, because it'll put an end to that he say, she say. and maybe some folks will govern themselves better. It says, of course, not too last night, though. I missed something. Who is that? Who is that? They act like they don't hear me. They're going to make me act a fool. Who is that? Who don't hear me talking? Where are you going? He's saying, come on. Oh. For what? Mama, you want me to go to the store? No, mama, me. Okay, I apologize. The system is falling apart. We might as well revamp the whole thing. Might as well. And revamp it in a way that's beneficial to all people in humanity. Might as well. One of the movies I think about as maybe a more of a micro example of how we could start figuring out how to reconstruct, society or humanity. Dang, what's the name of this movie? Now, this movie, can't think of the name of it, but it was about humanity was only able to survive because they boarded some type of train, and the train rode endlessly on this track. And every time it made a full lap on the track, it equaled a calendar year. At the back of the track were the very poor people and destitute people, and at the very front were the super rich and the entitled. And that movie right there, I cannot remember it, is what I use to kind of shrink the world where I can see it, and how it's set up, and how, again, the train was completely separated with the very underprivileged at the way in the far back, and the very wealthy in the coach in the front. And the poor people were, it was condensed or concentrated with people and stuff, while the rich and wealthy had elbow room. And it was just like, well, why would they do that when they could just allow all of the passengers on the train, which is parallel to all of the passengers on this earth, allow them to have their own little, free reign or portion or space on the train? It would not be overcrowded for the poor, and the rich wouldn't have their complete moments of isolation either. And there could be a balance. But I use that anyway to look and to see. Oh, I write so much, I done gave myself a callus or something. So anyway, I don't know. I just go off thinking. Once they mess with me and my mind go off, it just be gone. Government needs to be completely dismissed. They're run amok long enough. Yeah, they need to be put in check. Oh, I know what I wanted to talk about. I smacked again. Obviously, they've had many years to get it right and didn't. Never been. They weren't meant to get it right, obviously. And that's what I'll be thinking, like, is that a part of the overall plan? Like I said, they weren't meant to get it right. Were they not meant to get it right to help wake us up? All the BS going on is by their design. Always has been. People just have no idea how bad it really is. Yeah. And that's a part of the illusion. Because, like me, I have to fight it off sometime not to feel bad, because I'm like, is it just me? Is it just me? Because people don't openly say, I'm having a problem, or I don't like my job. I don't like what it stands for. People faithfully go to work and earn the money because they want to sustain a certain lifestyle. They want to make sure they eat. They want to make sure they have water. And at times they want to make sure they pop bottles. So I think it's a lot of things that are unspoken, which help to keep the illusion in place. And as long as a person feels like they are the only ones struggling, then it'll never be known that the issue is on a grander scale. I'm just going to talk about some of the things that's been crossing my mind, just to share, just to put it out there so we can begin to think. When it comes to that wall that Donald Trump wants to build, since they started supposed to be building it and doing more patrolling of it, all of a sudden you see all these people, these immigrants, coming to the wall. And I'm like, why all of a sudden are all of these people coming to the wall? What is taking place over there that we don't know about? What's taking place? Because all of those people were coming. I don't think they never reported on it. That many people coming to the border. They didn't start coming to the border until they really start building it up and processing and doing all that kind of stuff and patrolling. Unless someone over there told them people, go protest that wall, walk up on that wall, go over there. Walls keep people inside the walls keep people inside the same as out. Sure enough, conspiracy theories isn't so much a theory anymore. It's all unfolding. Exactly. Like the old $20 bill, people could fold it, yep, and see the towers burning. Exactly. And that's why the internet is so helpful, to just basic men and women like ourselves, because we get to share and show evidence, show and tell. So we know that it's not a conspiracy theory anymore. And then there are a lot of unspoken things I know are unspoken of based on my life experience. So when do we get to courage to share those unspoken truths about this reality? And if possible, present evidence so it won't be called a conspiracy theory anymore. But so I wonder why all of those people are at that border, have been at that border like that. It seems like, I haven't been watching the news lately. It seems like it's subsided, but there were like so many people at that border. And I shared it here on YouTube. I talked about this the other day. I said, oh my God, Nancy, you've been having a dream since you were a young girl about this Mexican guy. I told you it was me, that was entrapped within a wall, and it was wall after wall and gate after gate. And I'm running. I don't want to talk about it, but I had that dream for years. And how one day, last year, the year before, I sat on the wall. I said, I'm not running no more. I'm not jumping over one more wall, one more gate, and barbed wire. I ain't doing it. I'm done. And that was in my dream. But I was like, was I seeing this time? Because when I see them people all standing at the wall and the gate, whatever it is, that takes me back to that dream. And I just wonder what that is. It was something else I just wanted to throw out there, talk a little about. It was that them people, and I wonder why them people keep coming, and they pushing and doing all kind of stuff all of a sudden. Somebody paying them to come to the wall. What's going over there? Why don't them people want to stay there? Why don't they have a system set up that sustains those people in that particular area? Food, crops, what's going on over there? I don't understand some of this stuff, because even in other parts of the world, there are wars like guerrilla warfare and stuff, or whatever they call it in Africa. What is all this fighting? I believe I know what the fighting is about, but there's something untold that, how can I say, It's the politicians, it's the radicals, and then it's just the laymen and women, and we not execute no power in order to stabilize, our environments and our reality. And all of this fighting that they have going on, and we really don't even freaking know why. We're in the middle of it, and we're the ones losing and suffering, or those people are the ones thus far losing and suffering. It doesn't make any sense to me. How do we stand? That's some deep stuff. But it was something else I really wanted to talk about, and it was about, let me breathe and think, but it was something I really wanted to talk about. Including the school system, everything in the system is BS, including the school system. I'm so mad. I tell you, I'm so mad with myself at this point in time in my life for pursuing a college education and just having all that money hanging over my head make my nerves bad and my behind hurt. Every wall built is the movie Maze Runner. Meant had people running crazy in their hearts and minds. Yep. Yeah, and that's what it's really about. It's like this realm, the people that are ruling it, they run in our minds. They are literally running our minds. And it's hard to have a strong mind because get to the point where you don't know what's real and what's not. You don't know who's telling the truth or who's not. So you begin to question your own sanity. And if you have the right to speak up and share your truth, those kind of things. Afraid that if you share something, I say something wrong. Next thing you know, you be in a padded room somewhere, lost forever in the twilight zone. Something like that. Guys ever watched Oh, I seen this happen earlier. You talk about having, I just said the Twilight Zone and you said it at the same time. See, Alfred Hitchcock, we on the same wave, Pam, because I was just saying it, you was typing it. You said, Jordan, immunization, diseases, sin, religion, all designed. They had to give us everything? You mean we couldn't figure nothing out for ourselves? There's something wrong with that. I would be in here with all night on this, but it's not issues a lot of my behind times friends can even comprehend. Wow, shaking my head, I love them, but how can one not see or want to? And that's what the astrological energies we're talking about last night. When I gave the interpretation last night, is that there are people that can't see, they don't have wisdom, they don't have a gift of discernment, and they're under the illusion. They cannot see the deception at all. It's reality to them. That's some deep stuff. That was foretold in the Bible, and then for me to be able to interpret that in the stars, that's real deep. That's deep to me. Michigan water is poison. Yep. I got a issue about the water. I became empathetic since my awakening, so I can't watch the world going crazy on TV anymore. I can't watch the news either. It's like I walk past it and I hear something, or somebody say something to you about it. I'll be like, oh, okay. Like people kept asking me yesterday about what I thought about R. Kelly. I don't know nothing about R. Kelly, but that he supposed to be a freak. That's all I know. And so today I started researching it so I could have my 2 cents. And I got a whole bunch to say. But prior to being asked about it, I had no interest in it. You heard Dolores Cannon explained our universe we all have. And the X-Files episodes are exactly what's really going on. Seriously, really. So I need to go find X-Files and watch that. I've seen a couple of, episodes here and there, but I never really sat down and watched the whole thing. 9 to 5 is a code for light, 5th element, air, 9th, ethereal, spiritual, Cupid, water, matter, Mot, plus Amara, control. It's too real to tune out. and scared for ones I love who are not aware. It scares me. I mean, are the ones that are not awake or don't want to wake up or have not woken up, are they safer physically and mentally than a person that is awakened and aware and asking questions and piercing and probing and talking and sharing? You know, they may be in a safe zone. I don't think they're in a safe spiritual place, but I think they're in physically in this world and more in a safe zone. But us, ooh, we too nosy. It's smacked again. Stop. It's too late to turn out. Oh, I read that. For real, watching the reruns and they apply today. Okay, I'm gonna check that out. That's probably what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start watching the X-Files tonight if I can locate it. Might be what on what do you call that thing? Netflix or Comcast or cable people. I don't like them people either. Who pays the news people? The same people running everything, so they're not going to tell truth. No, I know they don't tell the truth. I know they don't. I've experienced that too. It's like, it depends, I guess, on your experiences if you're able to awaken. I just had some of the nuttiest, strangest experiences in my life. So I'd be just sitting there like, for real though? Come on now. Come on now. What's the purpose of me knowing these things, through experience? And for what? They ain't helping me, so that's why I give it to y'all. Maybe y'all can do something with it. Yes, watch the most recent X-Files. Oh, the most recent X-Files. Okay. I was going to start from the very first one. I'm not afraid at all. I'm just aware no one's safe. It makes me want to cry, really. Just proud of this, and my light gets dim and more, and I try to feel like my past really isn't a speech. I go, yeah. I said, what's the topic? The topic for tonight, I was talking about, you see the title, who cares for your troubles? And so I was talking about the potential troubles that our society may face if the government stays shut down. And so I was just giving some old school home remedies for survival. That was about it. And talking about all the people that would be affected if the government continues to stay shut down, and talking about how that particular type of experience will have a negative impact upon people's psyche and therefore their actions. And then at the end, I was asking, will anybody eventually be held accountable if that was to occur? Legally accountable. So, and again, it was something else I wanted to say, but I don't remember what it was. Nancy, what did it have to do with? Was it about this? I don't know. I can't remember. Anyway, this year is the rise of entrepreneurship time to be independent. It is, Jordan. It is time to be an entrepreneur and to be independent because, again, if 42 million people are, fighting over or scrapping for food and shelter and things like that, and there are not enough jobs for them all, they're going to have to try to figure out and make a way in order to sustain themselves and their children or, families. And so what does that suggest? Entrepreneurship. But personally, me, I'm like, if that's what it is, I ain't never been good at being an entrepreneur. Now, I got vision. I have a great work ethic. I'm knowledgeable. I'm fairly smart. I can socialize with people on a very basic type of level, but socially, I have never ever been successful and forged real long-term contracts. And I think it has to do with I've been awakened for a long time, and I've been reading so much, like one of you were saying, and I hear this frequently. It's people can find you strange when you are awakened and you see things that they don't see. And Lord, behold, what you talk about when it comes to pass, then they become afraid of you. I have had people be afraid of me. My own siblings have been afraid of me because, oh, don't tell me the future. Oh, don't prophesy. And I won't be prophesying. I'll just be talking about what is current events, those kind of things. And they don't see it like I see it. Oh, Nancy, you're just talking, you nuts, and whatever. You know, you think you know it all. You're an Aquarius. You're nosy. You're this and that. But then when it happens, they, oh, don't come say that people don't want me to talk to them. And in my life, they have, left. They get away from me because they can't handle it. But if it's somebody that want to know something and I tell them something they like, what they want to hear, they go right into it and they have the experience and they just as happy. They're just happy. But in the midst of all of that, I don't forge any intimate, long-term relationship or partnership. Like, really, the reason why I'm not in a relationship now is because when I was younger, I had so much bull crap ran on me because I was so naive. But after Saturn did its job on me, now I just be looking at a significant other and they can't do nothing that I don't know. And so I just look, once I learn your behavior and spirits and stuff, I know what you're going to do. I know where you're going to be. And so that drives people nuts, especially if they don't have your best interests at heart. And that would drive them, that has drove them nuts. They are a little afraid of me too. Like, it's not natural. But that comes from being awakened for so long. Did I ask to be awakened? Maybe before this life, but this time I don't remember doing it. And it's been happening my whole life. No matter what life experiences I've had, it comes to this place where I'm going to be shown something that others can't see, and I'm going to be tested and tried, and actually it's very, very annoying. And I bring that all up because I was talking about the subject matter. Jordan was talking about entrepreneurship. How can I be a successful entrepreneur when I'm not socially accepted? That is a challenge. Or people are afraid of me. I did readings for people. I'll be 100% right. But they have this, they become afraid if they experience somebody that tapped in. They become afraid, not understanding. So that's what's scary to me personally, not being able to successfully be an entrepreneur with what I have, because it's in anything I've ever done or perfected in myself. I'm scary to people. Socially nice, loving, lighthearted. They can kick it with me, but if it get too deep, it's too much. It's something about who I am. It's just too much, and so it keeps me from again being successful and forging bonds and doing things like that. It's insane. So what would divinity have for me? I don't know. Give you the eggplant. Oh, stop it now. Afraid or look at me crazy. I mean, now that part, honey, just trying to catch up. They leave us in the cluster dust, take off on the Eagle's spaceship, and we stick with it. BS, not up to me. It's going down like that. Oh, afraid. Oh, look at me like I need a patty room and a blue pill. Y'all so silly. Y'all just terrible. That's what we got in common. We got, hey, Yoni. Oh, you still here? You just been being quiet. Watching. You got to watch us because you can't hear us. Watching us talk crap. They are afraid of truth because once you're aware, you're responsible. Right. And I'll be trying. And I'm telling you, I went through it. I shared it here on YouTube before because I know. If I try to ignore it, start coming to me in my dreams and things like that, And so I got to the point where, I'm like, okay, I have to accept it, whatever I see or know. And so I'll go to a person, and I'll tell them, this is what I know. And people that know me know I don't doubt myself. They know I'm very serious minded. I can jump straight from silly straight to straight serious minded because that's what my life has required me to do. And so I'll go to them and, let them know up front what I know. And if I, see it or whatever, I'm done. I'm just done. And because I know they know me and they know I'm telling the truth, I have to act on whatever transpires. I have to. And so I got to this point where I was like, I'm not going to act on it. I'm not going to say nothing. I'm going to just let it go. But could you imagine knowing the answers to so many things or what's happening? And you was like, I ain't going to pay attention. I ain't going to say nothing. I ain't going to respond. I'm going to turn away. I'm going to ignore it. Did it. But life won't let you. It only goes so long. And then I crack. Like, okay. Because it's not so much I guess it is like a lover or ex constantly doing stuff like she ain't saying nothing yet. She ain't saying nothing yet. I already told you everything that's going to happen and you going to do it anyway. And I'm trying to ignore it. And eventually I have to crack because they won't stop. I guess they be trying to push me to make me react but I can't. Divinity talk to me, not divinity itself, but like I'll share this angels smacking again. I don't know why I'm in the middle of smacking now. Angels have talked, I guess you could say angels have talked to me and they tell me exactly what's going on. Like it's like a girlfriend sitting there talking about, Nancy, now you already know, could be my higher self, get on up, but it don't sound like me. Get on up and get on up out of here because of X, Y, Z and A, B, C, and D. And at this time, something going to happen, so get on up. And eventually I was, okay, it been to warm me down and I leave. So why I say that? Because I've never ever really been able to sit in anything too long. Something going to force me to make a move, get out of it and do what I know I have to do. And that's interesting because that's part of the current astrological energy. So I can expect something to really be moving in my life soon and very soon. That's why they put fluoride in the water. It classifies the pineal gland basically on keeping us from God. That's what I heard. It really is unfucking believable that they have ran this game on us all these years. It is. It is. That's what I say. In order for them to be able to run the games that they've run on us all of these years or decades is because our consciousness, I don't think we were conscious of some of this stuff. Like some of the things that have been publicly proven that the government has been involved in, like human testing and things like that. I don't think our conscious was aware of that it was even possible. So it wasn't even on a Richter scale. But over time, with the expansion of social media or what do you call it, broadcasting, these stories are beginning to unfold and people have evidence or what they call now receipts about what has happened to them. And so our awareness is expanding and it's gotten to this point where we see that we've been manipulated by a corrupted system. And now we're to the place we're also kind of lost and don't know how to recover from being bamboozled. We didn't gave a lot of things over and we didn't even know we gave it over. And that's one of the complaints I have when I be talking to divinity too. How do we correct this? Or is it meant to be corrected? So we need to create a new way of taking care of an environment, food and water. Very true. Dreams and life goals being replaced with planet survivors and spiritual preparation. And that's real. I eat, sleep, breathe. I can't stop. It isn't my choice. I know it's divinely oriented, but God knows. All right, so you know how it is to just kind of be made to do something. made to do something. And sometimes when you talk about things that you have come to understand that you're made to do, people look at you as strange or weird for having what many of us call a passion now. And it's not so much that you created the passion, but it was bestowed upon you, and you can't help it. And people can get they get like some like anger with the person that has something spiritually bestowed upon them. They don't call it something spiritually bestowed, but that's what it is. And people like, yo, you think you know everything, or you think you're somebody, or you like, come on now. Come on now. But I think that people that have been spiritually granted certain gifts, abilities, and interests have been granted those gifts, abilities, or interests for a purpose. And the purpose is directly related to how we should structure our world and our social exchange and playing our roles and things like that. I don't know how to, I'll be lacking words. It's like we already got our role to play here. And it's like, play your role in your sector with your people and everything will be fine. Take your portion, be fair, be respectful. It's like all these things are just too hard to do for us in this human form. So it is what it is. Sorry, I'm spelling phone messed up. Look, what is that stuff called? Auto correct. Your Florida button, bottom of the map, and 2 is the list of hurricanes, the sinkholes. Isn't anything that's rising. Oh Lord, them sinkholes scare me. Them sinkholes is a bit too much for me. Yes, it has. Also can take us all out. Sure enough can. Gotta have respect for this space, this realm here. Well, y'all, I'm gonna get on off of here. I really enjoyed conversating with you, ladies and gentlemen. For some reason, I can't think of what I wanted to talk about. So, of course, that suggests that we'll have another time like this. So, good night, y'all. As soon as I can figure out how to get off of this here live stream. That's the challenge now. Especially after I've been on here for so long, I forget how to go bye-bye.